A couple of months ago, I did a motivational video for those of you who are working private security and who are getting paid minimum wage. Video designed to motivate you into doing a lot better than what you are now. This video is going to expand on that concept. There's a concept that's called status quo, and in Latin, I think it means the state of affairs before something happened. It basically means the way things are right now. If, as a private security officer, if you just keep things the way things are right now and you're getting paid minimum wage, I guarantee you, I assure you, that for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, you're going to be doing the same job every day getting paid minimum wage. If house ownership is valuable to you, you're less likely going to be able to afford a house with just one income that's minimum wage. Number two, a vehicle that works most of the time, but you might have some little bit of doubts as to its dependability. As for going vacations or extra places, you might have some money to do that, but at any moment notice, you're going to have to look at your bank account. You might want to live a lot better than how you're living right now, and that's totally understandable. I've been in the security field, law enforcement, the last 21, 22 years. At the beginning, I started off in private security, and I noticed that there was older gentlemen that were in the same business as me, and they're getting paid very similar to me. At the time, I think I was getting paid $4.75 or $5 an hour, and I would have people that were double my age that had a whole family to take care of that had to have 2 full-time jobs. They didn't even have a chance to enjoy their life, and they did that just so that they can maintain the status quo, their standard of living. They raise their family. I think this person's wife also had to work a full-time job that had benefits because our job didn't have benefits. But again, the status quo keeps us to where we're at. You see, private security company owners, and I train private security owners in my books and on this channel, they depend on you to a certain degree for you to accept minimum wage. Now, those of you who are private patrol operators, private security company owners, managers of private security agents, private investigation agencies, you might not like what I have to say. If you don't like it, too bad. This might encourage you to pay your employees a little bit more and to give them a little bit incentive. So there's people out there who own companies, and they want you to accept the lowest standard of living, which is minimum wage. Livable wage isn't even, a minimum wage isn't even necessarily a livable wage. It would be if you had maybe some type of inheritance or something, you have some positive cash flow, but in most circumstances, we don't have that privilege. So that's what they're depending on. What I need you guys to do is do something different every single day, as much as you can. Maybe take a class, any class, okay? And just for example, take a CPR class. That might encourage you to maybe CPR first aid. That might encourage you to render CPR first aid if that need arises. And then when you have that experience, you applied your training and experience to that particular experience, and you maybe saved someone's life or you rendered some type of aid. Now you have credibility. You can talk about that. That might advance you to the next maybe level of advancement. Maybe you wanted to be an instructor of something, but certainly you have more knowledge than the average person who has never applied first aid or CPR. Okay? And it doesn't have to be first aid. Take a real estate course, an insurance course, insurance agent course. Do something different. Now you're going to have a knowledge base of something that everybody else or somebody else doesn't have. Okay, not too many people have that insurance training. Maybe construction. Take a course on construction, but do something different, because if you maintain a status quo, you're gonna stay where you're at. And the thing is, as human beings, we want to feel comfortable in something, and change requires some level of uncomfortableness. You see, we like to just show up to our house or apartment the way it is, and everything is exactly the way we need it. We have enough money to get by every single day, and a lot of us are comfortable with that. And just because it's comfortable, that does not mean necessarily that's the way that we should be our whole life. Because I'm telling you, once you hit, if you're not at the age you're ready, once you hit Social Security age, it's going to be harder for you to find a job assignment that maybe you're physically capable of doing. You can't just accept any job assignment. Do you really want to work into your 60s, 70s, and 80s? Because I see people that are doing that nowadays. Why didn't they plan for the future? Well, the thing is, they maintain the status quo their whole life. If you're if you're 18 or your 20s or even 30s, everything's gonna feel so comfortable this whole time, and then by the time you hit maybe 50s or 60s, you're gonna realize, you know what, I should have done A, B, or C. Don't ever get to the point in life where you have to look back and say that you should have done something, because you had 20, 30 years to do that. You maintain the status quo. You wanted to be in a position that was so comfortable for you that you didn't want any type of change. Do something different, you guys. With your network of friends and colleagues, if there's negativity in your life, or there's colleagues that always have something negative to say, well, take their input with a grain of salt and align yourself with more positive people. If you want to be a leader in the security industry or whatever industry you're interested in, align yourselves with those people. And be one that wants to make positive change in the world and in the workforce. And align yourself with those people, because that's how you're going to advance. If you have people that are complaining, my job sucks, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that over here? And every time they have something negative to say, well, I'm going to find another network group, another group of colleagues, another group of friends, because they're bringing me down. Okay? Celebrities. Okay? How do they get to where they are? And maybe musicians, how do they get to where they are? Well, the story of somebody being homeless and playing a musical instrument and doing some gigs and then making it to the top is rare. They're typically, they have some type of connection to somebody who's already popular, or at least popular in terms of being in the middle, and then this person's connected to somebody else who's on the top. So they have a great, awesome network in the industry, or that somebody that can connect them to somebody who's perhaps famous, and that's how you get popular. So stop doing the status quo. Do something different. Do something uncomfortable. Okay, that's obviously within the realms of legality. Firearms courses, executive protection courses. Okay, if you're interested in working executive protection and you want to get your foot in the door, attend executive protection courses. Okay, you attend these courses. The instructors might like your attitude, might like your ethic as a student, as a learner, and sometimes the instructors approach these students for job opportunities, and sometimes there's other classmates that will approach you, and they like you, and they'll hook you up with some pretty good assignments. Okay, but if you're maintaining status quo, you wouldn't have even attended one of these courses. Okay, I'll give you a good example. So I attended a Red Dot instructor course, and there was a particular student who had a very great mindset, and had a lot of training and experience, and he was trying to get into into instructor position at a community college for firearms. Well, sometimes to get into these instructor positions, you have to know somebody. You have to know the director, or have some type of somebody in that network. Well, that person was instantly connected to the director of this academy somewhere in San Diego, and I'm almost sure that he probably is enjoying his new assignment right now. Okay. On this channel, I get a lot of people from different countries, refugees, asylum, people who got asylum. Okay. You may have fled your country for maybe some type of war or conflict or something, but the interesting thing that I found out is a lot of people from Israel, they have a particular training or mindset. Maybe they work some type of assignment in their country of Israel, but See, the interesting thing about Israel is they're surrounded by a sea of countries that don't like them. That constantly, they have in the back of the mind, am I going to be the victim of terrorism? What they've done is they turn that around to be a little bit more proactive. And they are leaders in their country. They know how to defend themselves against any type of attack, including, hand-to-hand combat assault, maybe a firearms assault. But they learned a lot in the country Israel, and a lot of the Middle Eastern countries. You have people that fled terrorism over there, and when you flee terrorism, you might have experienced an act of terrorism and survived. And because you took certain steps, you can apply those steps in the private security world, maybe as a trainer or somebody that is a little bit more experienced than others, because not too many people have that experience. And you can show others how you survive. And I just think that makes a security officer a little bit more marketable than somebody that doesn't have that experience. I know of a gas store company owner. He's a Christian. He had to flee. I think it was Syria, one of the Middle Eastern countries. He had to flee because of his religion, and he, had he not flee, he would be killed. And he even showed me his arms. He took a hit with a 7.62 round. It went through and through, but he showed it to me. A couple of rounds he survived. If he applies what he learned to survive in that situation to maybe private security or something else, that puts him a little bit up here. Okay. Status quo also not being the status quo also means applying your personal experiences to the real world. You guys, I hope this video helps. I'm going to do more videos like this if you like them. Comment if you have any comments. If you have any suggestions on future videos, let me know. Everybody, hopefully you will be safe and take care.